अपने देश से आए कुछ गेहुए रंग के मेहमानों में खुद को अपरिचित महसूस करना और गोरे सहकर्मियों में भी खुद को अलग महसूस करना, अपने असली अस्तित्व की तलाश, कुछ कठोर हकीकतें, विशाल सांस्कृतिक विविधता को अभिव्यक्त करती हैं ये कहानियों की किताबें, जिन्हें खुद महसूस किया और फिर इन पन्नों पर उतारा गयाना में जन्मे, टोरंटो में बसे रेवत देओनंदन ने।
We came in the late 60s, early 70s, just immediately prior to the torrent of Caribbean immigration to Canada, and it was in response to a change in politics in Guyana, and in response to a need for further economic development of the family. It was difficult at first because living in Toronto in the 1970s, it's not quite the same as it is now. It's not it wasn't the multicultural paradise that Toronto is today. So finding acceptance was quite difficult, and so the need and the impetus to conform and to assimilate was quite strong. I tend to think back and wonder what compelled me to start writing, and a lot of it was just a little bit of loneliness, a little bit of insulation that had to do with being an immigrant. You're not really free to explore fully the resources of the country. You're not really comfortable yet, and so I turned inward and started writing a lot. I read a lot of science fiction when I was a child, and I started writing mysteries as a child as well, and I realized, well, I can write about rich debutantes in Cape Cod that I know nothing about, or I can write about my own cultural experiences, which I know a lot about. And once I started doing the latter, something emotional started to resonate in the writing, and I realized I have something important to say, and that's when I matured as a writer, I think, in my late teens, when I made the transition from writing basic narratives into writing actual literature. And the difference is quite dramatic. Actual literature involves a personal investment. Basic narrative is just telling a story.
रेवत की कहानियां कनाडा से बाहर जापान, न्यूजीलैंड, चीन, अमेरिका में भी उतने ही चाव से पढ़ी जाती हैं। स्वीट लाइक सॉल्ट वाटर कनाडा में बसे इंडो कैरेबियन प्रवासियों की जिंदगियों को व्यक्त करती छोटी कहानियों का संकलन है, जिसे गायना प्राइज फॉर लिटरेचर 2000 मिला।
It's actually a collection of short stories about the Indo-Caribbean diaspora, ostensibly. When I put it together, it wasn't for the purposes of telling the story of Indo-Caribbean migration. It was just a collection of stories I'd written over the years and been published in various venues. And when it came together, I realized there's a theme here, and the theme was migration, either from Asia to North America or from the Caribbean to North America, and also there's a bit about migration from this planet to another planet, and the exploration of emotional responses and themes that resonate amongst all immigrants. There's a certain commonality amongst all immigrant experiences.
रेवत की दूसरी किताब और पहला उपन्यास डिवाइन एलिमेंटल।
I try to explore dichotomies, male, female, east, west, human, animal, divine, mortal, and modern, ancient. And to do so, I had to go to the life of Alexander the Great, which is recapitulated in the life of one of the protagonists, and as well as to the life cycle of the Indian fig wasp, which has a very unique life cycle. It spends its entire life just looking for a place pretty much to die. And so those two extremes of Alexander's march to India looking for glory and the fig wasp's life cycle, just looking for the basic extremes of life. I think between those two extremes, we see the search for divinity, in my opinion.
इन कहानियों के अलावा एक आम इंसान से जुड़े विषय या कुछ ऐसे मुद्दे जो रेवत को छू जाएं, उन्हीं पर रेवत अपने विचार व्यक्त करते हैं टोरंटो स्टार, ग्लोब एंड मेल और सिटीजन आदि कुछ जाने माने अखबारों में।
The avenue is available to make an impact in any issue in North America. If you feel strongly and you can communicate it well, then you have the opportunity to make your voice known, make your viewpoint known. That's the beauty of our media here.
जातीयता पर आधारित भेदभाव के अलावा कुछ और मुद्दे हैं जिन पर रेवत का मानना है कि ध्यान देना ज्यादा जरूरी है।
There is much less racism here than there is in the rest of the world. There's no question. But it's not okay until there's zero. And it's not okay to simply say, well, you know, we've got it down to a minimum, so let's just move on to other issues. It's always going to be an issue, and we have to combat it on a daily basis. And I deal with racism because that's something that I feel strongly about. But there are other isms in our society we have to tackle: sexism, classism, all those nasty isms that that pop up in stand-up comedy routines that we kind of dismiss now because they're so commonplace. But we have to be vigilant and always speak out.
कहानियां लिखने का शौक रेवत को बचपन से था, लेकिन इस शौक के साथ साथ रेवत ने कनाडा के विश्वविद्यालयों से 4 डिग्रियां भी हासिल की, जिनमें एपिडेमियोलॉजी में डॉक्टरेट की डिग्री भी शामिल है। हाल ही में भारत में हुए दूसरे प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस पर एक खास बात जो रेवत को एक अहम आशावादी कदम लगा।
There is a certain identity crisis experienced by many Indo-Caribbeans, particularly Indo-Guyanese, that they have to choose between either being Caribbean or being Indian. And in my opinion, you shouldn't have to choose. And it's a big step forward having the President of Guyana accepted in India as a member of a larger South Asian diaspora community. It's saying, yes, you are one of our sons, you are one of our progeny. You are welcome to share in our cultural heritage, which we should be able to because it is part of our heritage as well.